Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Welcome, one and all. Thank you so much for being here. You could have been anyplace else, but you decided to take a chance on Royal Sussex. I really do appreciate it. Let me see who was here first. Okay. Uh, Cherry Traveler, thank you so much for being here first. Hello to Mary H., Gwendolyn Daniels, Helen Marmon, Heather Stroud, Kathy G., Gwendolyn Daniels, um, New City Gardener, Olive Perry, Peace and Joy, Lydia Washington, okay, Maurice Brown, Carolita Simone, and a host of friends and others. Okay. Oh, did I see Novi D? Yes, I did. Hey, Novi D. Kim Peaches, I think I said hi already. Marshar, Violet Maxwell. Oh, okay. We'll see what we can do. Um, I do have a bit of that, but also, ooh, I'm gonna I'm gonna talk about those other royals too a lot. Let me see here. Might as well get this going now because oh, anyway, there we go. There we go. So it's getting nasty. Hot topics and gossip. Or as I like to say, I kind of ran out of titles. But let's see what we can do here. So we're going to start off with a soundbite, which is unusual, but there's a reason for that. Jeremy Vine said some things that misrepresented the Duke of Sussex. He put some words into Harry's mouth, and there was a very strong rebuttal from one of the squatties who um, did not like it. As a matter of fact, I think most of the squatties that have seen it, if not all, was really taken back by it because it was not right. So I'm going to play that soundbite for you, and I will let you identify what Jeremy Vine said that was so offensive. Um, yeah, okay, I'll play that for you. So, hello, if you just joined us, make sure I know, right? What else is new? This one was pretty bad, though. This one was pretty bad, but we'll discuss it, and I will let you know how one of the squatties was able to, I guess, reply to Jeremy Vine because there are squatties that do not escape the notice of some of the people in the media, especially when they, you know, send them messages or tweet them or whatever, or post on their timeline. And it's a good thing to post on their timeline because it can, if they are capable of being embarrassed, hopefully it will cause embarrassment and they will correct themselves. But I, you know, I I don't have a great love for Jeremy Vine, but I'm hoping that he was speaking out of turn. But it's kind of hard to believe that. But I'm pretty sure he read Spare. I'm very, very certain that he read Spare. And if he didn't, then he should keep his mouth shut. Okay, let me just get to it.
To mention an interview Prince Harry's done. Another high-profile person speaking publicly. Harry was speaking about his family's move to America. It was an interview at the New York Times Deal Book Summit on Wednesday.
I very much enjoy living here and bringing my kids up here. It's a part of my life that I never thought I was going to live. I feel as though it's the life that my mum wanted for me, and to be able to do the things that I am able to do with my kids that I undoubtedly wouldn't be able to do in the UK is huge, and that's a fantastic opportunity. I'm hugely grateful for that.
And the articles that were written about that obviously take the headline, Harry says life in the US is what Diana would have wanted for him. Carrie, what do you think?
I think that how you feel about this is so much to do with your mindset towards Harry anyway. So my mindset towards Harry is that I think he's a guy that's suffered a massive trauma, who's trying to work out that trauma in his adult life, like we all are. I really hate the fact that it feels like often I don't know who the we is, but we're waiting and hoping for his failure. And that really disturbs me, just that attitude of can't wait for this guy to fail. Like, why? Like, he's just a guy who's
Because he accused the Queen of racism. That might be reasonable.
Yeah, because maybe he suffered racism.
He suffered racism. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't think it's necessarily because we want him to fail. I think we just want him because I think most people can see that he's a troubled man. He's a troubled man. And he's, have issues with his family. They've obviously had, blazing rows because they've got staff that do all their sort of biddings and all the rest of it, and profile and, whatever the fallout with his brother or his dad, whatever. It's a family feud. And it's not about, I think, it's about wanting him probably to come back to the UK. And if he did say, you know what, I need to come home, the whole country would say, come on, you've been a bit of a silly boy. You've said a few things that's upset a few people. You've written a whole book about your family that you weren't particularly pleasant about.
Well, obviously, he's totally fallen out with his brother. It's quite a big thing to fall out with your brother. It requires...
It's also quite a common thing.
But blood is thicker than water, right? I don't think brothers have the option of falling out.
But they do.
It's so self-indulgent.
Half your viewers will have family stuff going. This Christmas, we'll have family feud.
Yeah, family stuff, but we don't talk to them. I do think with Harry, and I feel sorry for him as well, because I think that forcing him to walk behind his mother's coffin in 1997, what the hell was going on? I think he's trying to almost re-script his mother's life and death, is my punk psychology, because he's doing what she should have done to save her own life. Because she stayed here and she let the palace messed around with her security, and then she ends up in the Paris tunnel. He's making the escape she should have made.
I think you're right. I think isn't that what many of us do, though? Probably try and rewrite our narrative to try and find a story that works more successfully for our lives. And I don't know why we should knock him for doing that.
No, I mean, it's amazing. Whenever I cycle past, my route takes me past Kensington Palace, and on that day, was it August the 31st, 97? There's always a little crowd of people on chairs with little pictures of Diana, even now, There's an amazing story about it. To mention an interview Prince Harry's done.
Okay. So you heard it. Neither Harry or Meghan accused the Queen or Philip of being racist. As a matter of fact, they went out of their way to say, which, by the way, technically, Harry and Meghan never used the language racist. They said it was a question about the baby's skin color and how would that look. It was the media who screamed racist. Okay? It was not Harry or Meghan. So Glow, who we all adore, who has a channel that doesn't have a lot of videos, but when she makes a video, it is so well done that it fills in so much material that has been missing from the conversation. So Glow says, so many thoughts on the commentary of Prince Harry's comments on his happiness with his family life in the United States of America from his New York Times Book Deal Summit interview. It's a long one, okay? It's a long one. So Glow went on to say, they ignore Harry's profound and cutting words on the moral poverty of the British media, because Jeremy Vine and his show are the very people he's talking about who are complicit in the media's abuse of him and Princess Meghan. Standard behavior from them. God is watching. Glow also goes on to say that Jeremy Vine always poo-poos the idea that the royal family could possibly have been racist against Prince Archie and the idea of future darker skinned Sussex children, and is very manipulative here in trying to make it seem more preposterous than putting out misinformation that they claim the Queen was racist. He knows full well that Harry and Meghan specifically said it was neither her or Prince Philip. He spoke about that at the time. He spoke about that at the time. Thanks for Carrie Grant. Carrie Grant. A daring, and I think that's the lady on the panel, maybe, for daring to suggest that Harry making the allegations against the institution is not a crime, but rather a fact he may have actually been victim of, and behavior that those allegations detail. Royalists don't seem to care about that bit. Dehumanization to exalt the welfare royals, Disappointing that Charlie Rowley, who I guess is the guy there with the red pocket square, should call a victim of any abuse or institutional abuse silly for exposing this, in Harry's case, only doing so when he was in response to the institution continuing daily abuse and smears of him through their Royal Rota PR, both before and after they left the institution. Are Me Too victims silly too? As in, of course, the Me Too movement. So Charlie Rowley, it says here, seems to think Harry and Meghan, or perhaps Harry alone, should give up their happy life and run into the arms of the public, not all, that were hateful against them before and after they left, because the Daily Mail to them to be, the Daily Mail told them, I'm sorry about that. The Daily Mail told them to be this because these cruel members of the public would decide to now welcome him / them back, all while his family are still doing evil things, inciting hate against him through the press and blocking their full security. And almost done here. It goes on to say, why should you not fall out and keep a distance from the blood brother / sibling that is toxic and behind the scene inciting hate against you and doing things that could lead you to being unalived? Speak to the spirit of Princess Diana for more on that. I find it interesting that the media and the journalists like Jeremy are determined to make any trauma Harry suffered a single issue of this being related to his mother's death by media and royal family only, and not also trauma from familial and royal institution abuse, that is institutional abuse, along with the media abuse he suffered post 2018. And lastly, it says, also royalist serf like Jeremy, use his past trauma to label him as still troubled. Here we go with that word, still troubled, as if to point out Harry has lost his mind as an explanation for his actions they do not approve of. The man is a successful non-working royal with a fabulous home, family, business, several jobs, executive producing role, mental health advocate, philanthropist, foundation owner, global statesman, and so much more. He's not troubled He's a legend. Hello. Did you get all that? Glow says he's not troubled. He's a legend. So, tut tut. I think she said everything that needed to be said. And again, Jeremy Vine was completely wrong for uttering those words. He accused the Queen of being racist. That I told you it was pretty bad. It was pretty awful, and it should be called out. And unfortunately, we're headed into the weekend news cycle where it is likely to just kind of disappear before Monday. But he really should be called out. As a matter of fact, I think um, he should be in court about that because that was very uncalled for. And the way he kind of slowly and slyly threw that into the conversation as though he was testing the water. I mean, literally looking to the other people on the panel as if to figure out from their facial expression, will this fly? I'm going to let you hear him say that part one more time.
Another high-profile person speaking publicly. Harry was speaking about his family's move to America, and it was an interview at the New York Times Deal Book Summit on Wednesday.
I very much enjoy living here and bringing my kids up here. It's
I think that how you feel about this is so much to do with your mindset towards Harry anyway. So my mindset towards Harry is that I think he's a guy that's suffered a massive trauma, who's trying to work out that trauma in his adult life, like we all are. I really hate the fact that it feels like often I don't know who the we is, but we're waiting and hoping for his failure. And that really disturbs me, just that attitude of, can't wait for this guy to fail. Like, why? Like, he's just a guy who's
Well, I think
his
maybe
mother.
because he accused the Queen of racism, that might be a reason.
Yeah, because maybe he suffered racism.
So he's saying that it's okay to wish that Harry fails because he accused the Queen of racism. That is very low. That is extremely low. That is as low as a well digger's behind. I'm not so surprised because Jeremy Vine is a tool of the of the hateful people, but that is even beneath him. That is even beneath him. However, I'm not so surprised. But at this stage of the game, this far away from the release of Spare, the Oprah interview, the docuseries, he just comes out of left field with he accused the Queen of being racist. There is no language anywhere that would validate that. It just did not happen. Meghan said the Queen could not have been nicer to her. Harry and Meghan both said they wanted to make sure that it was understood that the people that were asking about the baby's skin color was not Harry's grandparents, that it was some other members of the family. And of course, later on, we find out, and that's the other thing, we find out that it was quite likely Charles and Kate. And I believe more likely, allegedly, all four of those people, Charles, Camilla, Kate, and that wicked woman. I believe it was all of them. I believe that they had a conversation about it, and individually, when they got Harry alone, they brought up that topic and asked him, what is that going to look like for the family? As if they were trying to say to Harry that you really ought not have any children, or if you do, we really don't want them on the balcony. And I could believe Charles said something to that effect because Charles was leaking and briefing the idea of not giving those children titles, thus ensuring that they would never appear on the balcony. Okay, this was before they left. It was though he wanted to make sure that there would be absolutely no question of the children appearing on the balcony. So I can believe that Charles was one of the main perpetrators. TMCD, thank you so much for the what is that? Thank you for being a member. I've just celebrated my birthday in Mexico. Well, you know what? We had better do a salsa to that one. Yeah, why not? Why not? That'll break some of the tension that we're feeling right now. You ready? Here goes. All right. Happy birthday, TMCD, and many happy returns of the day. Let's see. Diane Hawkins says Charles was not king when Archie and Lily were born. Plenty of balcony dwellers, Tyndall kids, and all of the rest of the second and third cousins do not hold titles. All have been on balcony. Yeah, but it seems as though Charles has limited the amount of people available on the balcony since he has been king. And he probably was likely to do that in the first place. He was going to make sure that there were a limited amount of people on that balcony, and that would also include those Tyndall kids and the rest of the second and third cousins. Remember when they had the last Troop in the Colors, that interior balcony in the courtyard or quadrangle of the Buckingham Palace? There were all those people back on the other balcony that were out there to see the flyover, and very few people on the main balcony. So I'm trying to remember if those other kids were allowed on the balcony that day. I don't think they were. But either way, and you may very well be right about that, I still believe that Charles meant to prevent those titles from going to those kids, and it was only because Meghan mentioned it on the Oprah interview that he did not take action to remove those titles. He could have very well have petitioned Parliament to do it, and then just sign off on it, because it would take an act of Parliament, I believe. But it seems as though he was just floating it to see what would happen. But I remember Charles did bring up the thing about the titles while the Queen was still, well, he didn't do it directly, but it was brought up because of a leak to the press. So, but he never wanted Archie and Lily to be fully part of that family. I don't think he ever wanted that. But thank you, Diane Hawkins. Lex says, goes to court for some stalking him, yet he smears Harry and Meghan to the erasure of the British media harassment and Harry and Meghan time together in the royal family should be studied. Mm-hmm. Are you talking about when Jeremy Vine He hasn't been to court about that yet, or you say in past tense he goes to court? And for you guys who don't know, Jeremy Vine had a stalker, and the guy that stalked him scared the bejesus out of him. And I tell you, he's sitting up there talking tough now, but he was quite the little Girl Scout when he thought those. As a matter of fact, I think a Girl Scout is probably tougher than he is. He was scared crapless. He was afraid. Oh my goodness, he was afraid. Yes. Let me see. Do I still have that? I think this is it. I think this is it.
Today, and it features the late Caroline Flack. So it's actually this story here we printed out from the People, and it's about Harry having a date with Caroline Flack, the Gladiator star as she was, and 2009. And this was used by Harry as an example of what hacking did, because he did not expect this story to be in the papers. He said he found photographers hiding under a car. You can see when they meet here, he's obviously they're somewhere where the couple can't initially see them. They're going to a dinner party. He said he obviously doubted Caroline at the time, so he thought that maybe the story came from her. Mirror Group newspapers say its journalist had no direct involvement. We can speak now with Caroline Flack's mother, Christine. Christine, you're supporting Harry in this trial?
Yes, very much so, yeah.
And you can see with this story how Harry initially might have suspected it came from Caroline, but it didn't.
No, and Carrie was the same in her life. Whenever a story appeared in the paper, it causes distrust amongst your friends and your family. You know, she said, "Mum, have you said anything?" But when she was seeing Harry, she knew her phone was being hacked. So we used to use a different telephone. You know, and I mean, I believe they tried, well, I can't really say, I was going to say they tried hacking our phones as well. But, you know, I just think Harry's doing it for everybody. I do, and I think he's very brave because he's getting such an awful lot of stick as well. And the people that are reporting on him are the same people that, you know, he's in court against. So it's doubly hard.
I don't know, yeah, you know, that's the thing. It's very unfair, I suppose, but whether you ever win a battle against the papers, I don't know.
Yeah, but you shouldn't be even saying that, Jeremy. I've been told that. I've been told, you know, don't say anything about the Sun, you know, with that awful picture of her blood they put on the front page, because you may need them. Or what can they do to you? But what I think is my daughter's dead.
People live in fear of them.
What do you?
No, actually, I don't. But then I'm not in the zone that Caroline was in or that Harry was in, where I
but
guess
you
they
you
felt...
are. If something happened in your private life, Jeremy, because you've got so many things that you're on, that would be all over the paper, I assure you.
Well, I kind of accept
and
that.
It wouldn't be nice for you or your family, and that's what Harry's trying to say.
I hear you. And
He is a cold, evil. He is so cold. He is literally arguing with Caroline Flack's mother on behalf of the tabloids.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you felt his evidence went in court, but it sounded like a howl of pain to me.
It was. You know, and even when you started this morning, you picked up two things, you know, that he couldn't, answer. Well, when they talked to the reporter afterwards, is it Jane Kerr or someone Kerr? She couldn't even remember writing the stories. So what does that tell you?
I was going to say, did Caroline establish that she was hacked, her phone, or will we never really know?
Well, how can you say? You know, they had private conversations of hers that they wouldn't have been able to get anywhere else.
Yeah. It does all leave a very bitter taste, doesn't it?
It does. And, you know, after, you know, the court, she was arrested, I went to her flat to clean up all the blood, not the man's, but hers, and I was followed all the way across London by Paps.
Really?
You know, it's horrendous what the press do. Horrendous. And I'm just so pleased he's doing something about it.
Thank you very much for talking to us, Christine Flack, Caroline's mum.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. In this case is that you're fired on from all directions. Every time you open your phone, he's there. Every time you turn on your computer, he's there. And you know that what he's doing is he's adjusting or despoiling your digital self. Now, you may say, well, it doesn't matter, you just come offline. But the fact is that, you know, we live 70, 80, 90 years, but our digital presence goes on forever. And you can see yourself being dismantled. And you can't see it ending.
The judge actually said when he sentenced Belfield, you didn't meet or physically approach or watch any of your victims as a traditional stalker might have done. Your methods were, however, just as effective as a way of intimidating your victims and were in many ways much harder to deal with.
The danger came from the online traffic, not from the individual. I would have done anything to meet this guy and have a conversation with him face to face. He wouldn't have been threatening, he was probably a coward. But what he wanted to do was create so much hatred against me that someone acted by proxy. I'm absolutely certain that he knows, with 400,000 people watching those videos, that at some point someone is going to take a knife or acid to my home. Or the other thing is, he gets one of his victims to take their own life. We heard about someone trying exactly that in the court case, one of the victims. 2 of them described themselves as becoming suicidal. That is not to be taken lightly. I think if the courts hadn't stopped Alex Belfield, somebody would have died.
Someone who stalks in person, we imagine to be hiding in the shadows. But what Alex Belfield and his army of followers was doing was in plain sight. Everyone could see it on Twitter and YouTube.
It's extraordinary. And I think there's a business model here, and this case has broken it, which is great news for everyone. But the original business model was started by Alex Jones in the USA, and it's basically selling massive amounts of misinformation on the basis that often lies are more interesting than truth.
Alex Jones is the man who said the Sandy Hook shooting did not happen.
That's right.
And was recently sued for libel by the parents of one of the children who was killed.
Correct. So you create a market for lies.
You know, Prince Harry's got 3 pieces of litigation going on against the Mail, against the Murdoch Company, and today his case against the Daily Mirror starts. The significance of Harry is twofold. A, he's got enough money that he is saying, I don't care what you offer me, I don't care how much it costs if I lose, I'm going to have a hearing. Do you know there's nearly 2,000 phone hacking cases have been silenced, where the people suing have been paid off before they could get to court. The risks of going on were just too terrifying financially. Okay, so we are moving towards an evidentiary hearing. The other point of Harry is, if, as is expected, he turns up to give evidence, the newspapers who would like to ignore this story can't do that. They're going to have to cover it. It's beautiful. But what isn't going to happen is that you're going to see structural reform of newspapers in this country so that they start telling the truth instead of dealing in falsehood and distortion. If we had succeeded, we would have that. This country would still be in the European Union if we'd achieved that. But you still have newspapers who abuse their power and, using falsehood, distortion and spite, damage this country over and over again.
Okay, now you know that was the longer version I really wanted just the part where Jeremy was talking like he was Rambo, like he would confront this guy if he could. I would love to see Jeremy Vine trying to be all tough and all hard and everything, like he gonna go out there like he's Sylvester Stallone or or he's gonna go out there like he's John Wick and deal with this whoever the name of the guy was. I could not imagine Jeremy Vine trying to intimidate someone, let alone having enough courage to go and face someone down. Oh, he was probably a coward. Well, then that would make two of you. That would make two of you. There's two cowards in that fight, while the two of you scratch each other's eyes out or whatever, or uh, there's only one way to deal with Jeremy Vine at this point, and y'all know what it is, don't you? I don't have the words, but she does.
Hey girl, sit down. Sit down. Sit down.
Yeah, sit down, girl. Lydia Washington says, look at God and his sense of humor as he sent both children with skin so fair that they are just as white appearing as William's children. You know, and in some degrees, I may even, because listen, there is some, the Middletons, they got some ethnicity of a darker hue in there somewhere. Trust and believe. They got some darker ethnicity in there. As a matter of fact, aren't there Ethiopian Jews? I'm just asking for a friend. Don't ask me why that's relevant. But thank you so much, Lydia Washington, for the super chat. Okay. Yeah, sorry that was kind of long, but I think it was kind of relevant too. Let me see. Remember when QE2 died and they tried to blackmail Harry and Meghan for the titles in the British media, yet they called Meghan a liar. I remember when the media were saying that Harry bet not say anything about Camilla in his book. I remember that. They were almost daring him to say something. When Jeremy Vine told that lie, saying Harry told QE2, Harry said that QE2 was racist, it immediately pissed me off. There's absolutely no level he won't stoop to. Yeah, and he's very good at gaslighting people because it is very sly and subtle when he gaslights. Oh, okay. I hope so. I hope so. George V did the first slim down of the royal family. Then Elizabeth did a smaller slim down in her 70s and early 80s. Trust me, Liz had a say in blocking those kids. She let Chuck and Will take the lead. Yeah, but also, I still believe at that point that Charles was working as a regent. He was a regent in all but name. He had pretty much stripped his mother's staff and I think retired people and put his own people in there. And then when the queen died, I think a few of them kind of got absorbed into the Charles III household. But yeah, I don't know. I don't believe that the queen was able to really project any power at that point. They kept up appearances, but from what Harry has said, I believe that the queen was pretty much a witness to her own I guess weakening of authority. I think she just kind of witnessed things more so than she made decisions. Apparently, during the interview, Meghan said the decision was made while she was pregnant that the children born to Harry and Meghan would not receive a title until after Charles ascended to the throne. Well, they would, well, the Queen intervened and gave titles to Charlotte and Louis, I believe, which they were not entitled to until she died. Now, I believe that the firstborn, being George, was going to receive his title because, he was so high up in line to the throne. But those other kids were not supposed to get them. The Queen intervened. But upon the Queen's death, Archie and Lily automatically would have received their titles according to the George V patent letter, and that would have been automatic. Charles started floating the idea that they would not receive titles, right? The Queen could have intervened. Now, even though I always say I don't think the Queen was necessarily making decisions, the Queen could have intervened for Harry and Meghan and given those titles to those children. She could have done, but she chose not to. Now, whether or not that was because of any input from Charles, we'll never know. But technically, she was still alive, so she was still queen, and she definitely had the authority and the ability, because any titles that are conferred upon anybody in the United Kingdom is up to the discretion of the sovereign. The one thing that Charles cannot do is single-handedly take those titles away. But I think he was trying to float the idea so that he could more easily take those titles away. But at the time, after the Oprah interview, suddenly it turned into, well, when the Queen dies, Charles is going to be so busy, he won't have time to think about those titles. And then after that, the conversation just dropped off the cliff and it wasn't mentioned anymore. But when the Queen died, it was the Daily Mail and the Sun and all the rest of the tabloids who were the first to declare Prince Archie and Prince Lilibet Diana. They were the first to declare it. And the palace would not use those titles on anything until after Lilibet's christening. When the Sussexes said it first, then they used it. But before that, they refused to change those titles on their website, their official website. That's the way I remember it. So let me know if I got any of that wrong. Okay, Sussex Team Warrior says, Baron, I think more tabloids will run with this blaming the Queen narrative. It removes focus from Kate. You know what? Now you see, Sussex Team Warrior, that is brilliant. Her continued PR rehabilitation and Charles trying to salvage his faltering reign. That makes so much sense. That makes so much sense. And I'm going to tell you why it does. Because, as you say, they can just shift it to the Queen. And Kate comes out smelling like a handberry, a rose. Yeah, a rose. She comes out smelling like a rose or a marchioness. Well, that is brilliant. Now, see, I like that. That makes a lot of sense. It'd be so much easier to project that upon the Queen than for them to allow people to believe that Kate and Charles are racist. But I do believe that they are working very hard to rehabilitate Kate in the eyes of the public, as well as Charles, because both people who were accused of being racist were the same people who were later on being treated for the phantom cancer treatments or whatever it was, which they won't tell us what kind of cancer it was or what kind of treatment. Well, for Charles, they won't tell the treatment. But yeah, thank you so much for that. I like that. Okay. I'm going to have to skip through most of these comments. Although I think that, let me see. Uh, oh, that is so wicked, Legs. That is wicked. And Connie Balmer, thank you for joining us. Yeah, that is wicked. I love it. Yes, yes. Hazel Jones says the Queen undid a part of the George V, 1917 letters patent for William's kids before the 1917 Charles grandchildren would have been HRH, Prince and Princess. Ah. So would that have, okay, let me do that again. So before 1917, okay, they would have been Prince and Princess. So when the Queen intervened and gave those titles to Charlotte and Louis, she intervened on their behalf and gave them those titles when she really should not have given those titles to them. Because that's the way I understood it, is that they were not supposed to have those titles until after she died. I thought only George could have the title, but the Queen, I guess, didn't want the other two to feel left out. So she was like, but the Queen was just throwing titles around all over the place for her grandkids and great grandkids. And all of that seemed to come to a screeching halt when Archie and Lily was born. And then after that, crickets, absolute crickets. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, Charles did a job on Edward. That's true. He really did a job on Edward. They made Edward wait all that time for absolutely no reason. Okay, I'm going to move on to another topic. Yeah, and this will be very short. Do you remember WellChild Award winner Noah? He and his family are still enjoying the memories from that incredible night back in September, and he is practically living in his new hoodie. If you want to be as stylish as Noah, visit wellchild.org shop, hashtag WellChild Awards. Well, Noah, that is the one who mopped the floor with Harry. I mean, Noah was all over Harry like a cheap suit, poking him in his ribs, making him laugh, and throwing toys at him. I mean, he literally had Harry, a 2-term Apache helicopter pilot, a commander in the armed forces. He reduced Harry to like a little chew toy. He had Harry fetching toys for him. He was pulling his shirt and poking him, and it was so much fun. I mean, he was just he had so much energy, and and Harry, of course, enjoyed a good laugh with Noah, and it was just hilarious to watch Noah reduce Harry into this, like I said, like a little chew toy, like a little doggy chew toy, and that was like the most fun thing I've seen at the WellChild Awards ever. And of course, after all of that banter and making fun of Harry and the laughing that they both were sharing, poor little Noah, he was just exhausted when it was over with. But yeah, there's Noah right there. They said, "Oh, he's full of beans, isn't he?" But yeah, he's got a lot of energy. He has that fantastic smile and just a joy to be around. See there? And he's even taking a photo with Harry. So by the time he got through picking on Harry, I'm sure Harry fell asleep on the plane all the way home. And as for Noah, I think there was a picture of Noah with his family where he's literally sleeping because he was so exhausted from picking on Harry. But yeah, so if you want any merch from, see, there's the hoodie right there. That is very nice, isn't it? 2024 WellChild. If you want any merch from WellChild, if you want to be as fun as Noah, now you know where to get it from. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, there was no difference in their ages when they were playing with each other. Let me see. I think you were helping Noah keep the starshine on him. Well, child spotlight. Noah approves. His natural charisma is endearing, and people will gravitate to this. Absolutely, I hope so. Yeah, I love that kid. He's absolutely hilarious. He mopped the floor with Harry. When he was playing around with Harry, I swear I could hear the theme of Benny Hill playing in the background. I could hear the theme song for Benny Hill playing in the background. Okay, let's get on with it. So take a look there. Meghan is not an asset to Montecito. Neighbor tells new documentary Duchess doesn't really go out or get involved with elite Californian community, but quite jolly Harry has a certain or has to a certain extent. Um, you guys, I told you sometimes I get in the habit of taking a look at the author of these articles, the writers of these articles. This time, I wanted to know just who in the flip is the neighbor saying these disparaging things about the Duchess of Sussex. Who is this neighbor? Neighbors and locals in Montecito have spoken about the couple's life there and admit they don't often see them. So what? Unless Harry is on his bike followed by his security team, there are also questions about their elitist lifestyle. Hold on, you guys, I'm getting there. Richard, what is it? Menards, one of their near neighbors. Listen to that now. The devil is in the details. One of their near neighbors, near could mean anything, but one of their near neighbors has said they are not an asset to the wealthy community. I personally don't think that Meghan is an asset to our community. She doesn't really go out or get involved with the community, he said. Harry has to, oh gosh, that's weird for me. Harry has to a certain extent because he's quite jolly. Now, okay, this person don't like Meghan, but they like Harry. We've established that, right? But Meghan doesn't seem to get, wait a minute, but Meghan doesn't seem to get seen anywhere, and you don't see him either. But Meghan doesn't seem to get seen anywhere, and you don't see him either. I just thought you just said you saw him on his bike. I thought you just said you saw him on his bike. Now, what is it? You either saw him or you didn't. Mr. Meany, I'm going to call him Mr. Mean. Mr. Meany was speaking to the new German documentary called Harry, the Lost Prince. there are also reports that they are planning to send Archie and Lilibeth to a prestigious private school, which will test how much they will get involved with their community.
Hey, girl, sit down. Sit down. Sit down.
This is the Montecito Journal, okay? This is the Montecito Journal. Author spotlight Richard Meneards, I guess that's his name, covered the royal family for Britain's Daily Mirror. You got that? He covered the royal family for Britain's Daily Mirror and Daily Mail and was the editor of the New York Magazine. He was also a national anchor on CBS, a commentator on ABC Network News, gossip on the Joan Rivers Show, and oh, that's prestigious, and Geraldo Rivera, host on ETV, a correspondent on the syndicated show Extra, a communicator on the KTLA Morning News and Entertainment Tonight. He moved to Montecito 13 years ago. Now, it didn't take much to find this. This person obviously is a bit of a royalist, right? Which means that he can tolerate Harry as a prince of the realm of the blood, but Meghan is a usurper as far as he's concerned and has absolutely no value, not even to the people of Montecito. And here's a couple of articles that he's written for the Montecito Journal. There's one, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have made their first joint appearance in more than 3 months as the Ribbon Rock duo share a new video message. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex wore blue blazers and poppies in their lapels in honor of Remembrance Day in a video message about online violence against children. And the other article, and these are the only two that I've found so far, Prince William and his younger Montecito-based brother, Prince Harry, have now found themselves on opposite sides of the media rivalry. The Prince of Wales' latest initiative, focused on tackling homelessness, is the subject of a British ITV documentary, making a significant step in his efforts to bring in awareness to social issues, slated to air, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, that's who this guy is. That's who this guy is. And as you can see, Beverly McCaskill also was able to, find this guy. Tells when they are at a coffee shops. Yeah, so you guys, that German, I guess, was it a documentary? Remember the lady from Germany goes to Montecito and she brings a crew of 5 people. Did it take 5 people to get this comment from this guy who is supposedly a neighbor, a near neighbor, not next door neighbor, but a near neighbor, which means he could be from anywhere in Santa Barbara County, right? But they say he's from Montecito, so let's assume that's true. So he could be anywhere in Montecito. I guarantee you, he does not live anywhere near the Sussexes. So to call him a near neighbor is a stretch. That is a stretch. You see what we're up against? Do you see what we're up against? That woman came all the way from Germany with 5 crew members in tow. And she was hoping to do an interview with Harry, otherwise, or Harry and Meghan. Otherwise, why would she bring a crew of 5 people? You could have easily have hired a crew of people right there in Montecito or, in California. You didn't have to fly a whole crew they must have had money in the budget that they either have to spend it or lose it. So she took the money and took a vacation to Southern California. That's what happened. She was on vacation. This idea that she was doing some type of investigative report about Harry and Meghan. Where's the beef? Where's the beef? There has been nothing. When I tell you that there has been nothing to come out of that report, that's why I compared it to the, oh gosh, what is his name? Tom Bauer. When they were trying to sell all this fear about Tom Bauer, he's going to get to the bottom of it. Tom Bauer recycled a bunch of news, adding a new twist to it, but it was stuff that was already known. And that's the same thing that lady did from Germany. And if this is the best she could do, claiming that this is a near neighbor, when this is an insider, a media insider, this is not just some old man that goes out on his stoop for the newspaper every morning, or who sits in the lanai with a cup of coffee and speaks to the other neighbors over a fence. This is someone who has an in for the Sussexes. In particular, he has an in for Meghan. Clearly, he has an in for, yes, thank you. Thank you. Perfect observation. Another Jan Moore wannabe. At least Jan Moore didn't bring 5 people with her. 5 people and a total bust. Absolutely nothing new. I don't know how she justified that trip to Montecito, but there was nothing to be had. I have lived on streets and never knew my neighbors. I have lived in apartment buildings and never knew my neighbors. I guarantee you, if I lived in a gated community, unless I was living next door to Oprah or unless I was living next door to someone like Ellen DeGeneres, I probably wouldn't be interested in who the neighbors were. I would probably hear the name and forget it that same afternoon. So, what's up? There's no there. This is just child's play. There's no there. You would really think, and of course, I know this is clickbait. I get this is clickbait, but it's just so ridiculous. It's the silliness of it that kind of takes your breath away. Thank you, Hazel Jones. That's a good one. You're probably right. He's probably one of those people that is living out of someone's garage, a little makeshift apartment or flat, someone's garage. Yeah. You guys, Harry and Meghan, have been moving around Montecito for a few years now, unnoticed. Because in Montecito, there are no leaks. Nice try, though. Nice try. A near neighbor. With neighbors like that, who needs enemies? Oh, well, let's move on. Yes. It's time. You guys. I feel like I'm watching some like very gothic like movie, a scene from a very, very I don't know, it's almost like a scene from The Crown. Not in that, this type of setting would have taken place, in some of the early episodes, but just in the body language, the very stoic posture of most of these people, those children look completely unenthused with anything that's going on. And of course, it is not my goal to disparage those children in any way. But you could not help but notice this. It is though they are stuck between two people that do not have a good relationship. This is not good. This is not good. The pursing of the lips, the cold, steely stare. I wasn't sure what to make up. I'm actually a bit heartbroken. I'm actually a bit heartbroken. My heart aches for them. My heart really aches for them. Now, this is the arrival. The other children that arrived at Westminster Abbey, I promise you, those other children, the ones that I've managed to see, they were smiling. They were smiling. And if only because they're unfazed by any of this, because this is their life. You guys, there was a bazillion, a trillion, bazillion, whatever, flashes when they got out of those cars. The press snapped thousands of photos from the time the car door opened till they got inside of Westminster Abbey. That has to be very upsetting. That has to be very upsetting. They could have very well have had those children use the side entrance, the same one that the Queen used when she was having mobility issues. But they didn't have to go through that front door. They really should not have done that. Or they could have let the children go and then take as many pictures of the parents as you like. But it was really sad. It was very, very hard to look at. Is that William's new equerry / partner? Who knows? That is the new equerry. Yes, it is. And thank you for the super chat. That is the new equerry. I do recognize him. His new beard. That is his new beard. Even if they're not living together, he's always got a beard nearby. Absolutely. That is, even if he and Kate are not living together, he has a beard within reach. I don't have words. I'm not even going to describe anything. I'm just going to let you observe for yourself. Now, to be fair, these are just still photos. These are not, the whole story. But I could not find any images of those kids enjoying this outing. And you can tell from the brightness, it's almost like daylight. That is the light of, I don't know how many cameras clicking all at the same time. And of course, the very warm and affectionate gaze of William toward his wife. Very warm, very affectionate, very Ted Bundy. I think that most women, well, I was going to say most women would love for their partners to gaze at them like that. But I think for most of those women, That'd be the last time anyone had ever seen them. Oh, that is a look. That is a look. You know, um, it seems like it. I would say it seems like it, but I'm gonna just assume that those are shoulder pads, but it could be tension coursing through her body that caused her shoulders to go up. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. I have no words. I will let you glean from it whatever you may. I have no words. If that is what the institution has given to these children in exchange for a normal life, I hope it's worth it. I hope it's worth it. Now, I told you all a couple of weeks ago that Kate arrived at the church first, and then William and the children showed up later. Same thing happened today. The very same thing happened today. Last year, Kate was there first. And by the way, there was not very much reaction to her appearance. As you will see in just a moment, there didn't seem to be very much reaction to her appearance. Let me see here. There we go. Uh, oh, there we go. I got it. I got it. As you can see, the crowd is beside themselves with joy. You see the way the crowds are almost. Now I can hear at least a couple people scream, but other than that, there doesn't seem to be much cheering for the Princess of Wales. There were some people. There were some people, but they just. I'm gonna guarantee you that those were likely tourists, and they weren't sure exactly what was going on. But you know, there's always tourists around Westminster Abbey, and this is like at an hour of the day where that area would still have tourists lingering, right? People walk through, what do they call that area? Whitehall. People walk through that area all the time. You always find tourists there and such. And when possible, people will visit Westminster Abbey. So when you put up those barriers in this area, of course, people are going to stop and take a look. But they did not seem all of that excited with Kate's arrival. Yeah, that was pretty weak. You know, Beverly McCaskill, the same thing happened last year. And then another car comes up. Kate waits for them. She comes, I believe she goes inside and then she comes back out again. I don't get that. I don't get why they don't show up together. I mean, they do have vehicles that could seat all four family members. That is 5 family members. I do believe that when they left together, I think. I do believe they left together. But for some reason, they did not arrive together. Maybe there's some dinner or something like that afterwards that they are obliged to attend. But yeah, for whatever mysterious reason, Kate shows up first. Second time I've noticed this. And then William and the children join her later. Interesting, isn't it? Now, you guys turn the sound all the way up. You're going to need it because even the person doing the subtitles could not figure out what Kate was saying. This is barely audible, barely audible. But Kate said something, but whatever she said is hard to know because, well, you can barely hear it. You know, when she tries to get all posh, her voice goes down. Adorably, she also revealed, now this is a tweet on the left from Becky the Blob. Adorably, she also revealed she had asked Louis to keep a secret about the ballet dancer tonight. She said, and then this morning he said, "Mummy, please can I tell her I'm bursting? I did not drop off." And he really wanted to tell her, I think, hopefully he's kept it. I think that's what she said. But anyway, I'll let you listen for yourself. I will let you listen for yourself. Oh, and by the way, even Rebecca English didn't understand. She says, to clarify, the Princess of Wales wanted him to keep a secret from Charlotte to, it should be who adores ballet dancing. She put to adore. Okay. It should be who adores ballet dancer. Oh, anyway, let me play the little thing for you. Okay.
And then this morning, he's like, "No, please, can I tell her I'm busting?" Because I just did drop off. We really wanted to tell her. I think, hopefully, you think that. I think he said something. I asked him this before that, and I said, "Do you know what the surprise is?" Teaching them to hold true to eyes. The other day,
well, obviously, it'd be. I would love to have met her, and she's obviously she's an inspirational woman to look up to.
Those poor women. Actually, it was a couple of guys and a couple of girls, but those poor people were literally trying to crane their necks. They tried to point their ears. They cupped their hands over their ears, probably trying to figure out what she was saying. You could hear every other word. Even the person doing these subtitles could not keep up. It was barely audible. And that's because she's always trying to be so posh and elegant. Everybody know you from Buckleberry or Huckleberry Finn or wherever you're from. They don't know what in the world this girl is saying. They cannot hear her. She's barely audible. What is that? I mean, you have been stalking that family for over 20 years. You have been married into that family for what, 13, 14 years? Speak, speak. It is time to project. You must speak. I don't get why that happens. Bond says, by the way, thank you for the super chat. Two things. If Louis is bursting, tell him to pinch it. Tell Kate to stop talking with marbles in her mouth. Just saying. Which, of course, I get that reference. The marbles in the mouth, that was a technique to help, what was it, in King's speech, to help him overcome his disability or his speech impediment. Well, with Kate, the marbles are virtual. So anyway, as Kay says, even Becky's interpretation doesn't sound like what she's saying at all, at least not according to the subtitles. Even the subtitles can't work out what exactly she's saying. Subtitles are saying they are starting a family podcast. Okay, they're starting a family podcast, and they come, and there comes Rebecca English, her interpreter, to clarify what Kate was saying. I find this so funny and patronizing. I don't think they do this for any other royals apart from Kate. It's like she's speaking a different language. Yeah, it's called remedial posh. Yeah, it's called remedial posh. What? Come again? Oh, okay. You don't want Louis to tell Charlotte about the ballet dancer. Huh. That would be really awkward. Huh. That's the future queen, folks. That is the future queen. Anyway, thank you again for the super chat. Now, William, of course, realizing that Kate is the spotlight, did not want to be outdone. So they hastily threw together a visit for William. William dons an apron as he serves Christmas dinner at the Passage, a homeless charity he first visited with Princess Diana. He quickly had his team throw together something the day before so that he won't look as though he's not as busy as Kate, right? But it gets better than that, you guys. It gets better. The fact that the Princess of Wales will be present for key parts of the next state visit should be more than enough. The banquet at the end of the day is the most superficial part. Those making snide or sarcastic remarks about Catherine needs to calm down and touch some grass. Now, what this person, by the way, I won't say that this is a deranger, right? I'm going to say that this person this person loves the royal family. I actually went through their Twitter and I didn't go very deep, but they were not disparaging the Sussexes. They were not rude about Harry and Meghan. They just didn't mention them. Harry and Meghan just did not exist for this person. as far as I could see. I didn't go too far, but as far as I could see, they don't exist. And you know what? Fine. That is fine. Say nothing about them, and we don't have a quarrel. But this person was trying to warn the other royal supporters, the so-called working royals, to calm down and stop pointing fingers and making assumptions about Kate's absence from the state dinner. Which, okay, I think that Kate is unpopular with Camilla, the Queen cohort, and the Camilla is punishing Kate for something. Kate seems to be unable to wear a tiara. It'll be interesting to see the next time Kate wears a tiara. Kate was told she could not even wear a tiara to the coronation. Okay? You're not even allowed to wear a tiara to the coronation. So what does Kate do? She shows up with something fabricated to look like a tiara. Right? Touche. Camilla and Kate are rarely seen in the same space. Now, their paths did cross, but ever so briefly. Kate was excluded from this dinner. So other people on the thread had chimed in with their opinion. And I want to share this with you because I want you to see that they can talk about the royal family without pulling Harry and Meghan into the conversation. I want to celebrate them for doing this. And again, I didn't go too deep into this person's Twitter, just the more recent post. Blimey, what is wrong with people? She's attending the serious diplomatic part of the day. She will forego the tiara and meal. This said, she has the priorities in the correct order. Fine. No mention of Harry and Meghan. Someone else says, methinks some people need to get back to selling shampoo. Now, I don't know what that means. But again, they didn't mention Harry and Meghan. Fine. The bottom one says, I can't believe you, of all people, her fans are sitting back idly watching her slowly be sidelined and benched. Now, this person is not accepting it. They feel like that there is something nefarious going on. They don't like the idea that Kate is not allowed at that banquet because people love to see the tiaras. I think they have a point. But again, no Harry and Meghan. Perfect. Here's another one. She is probably also, you guys, this is so sad and pathetic. I actually wanted to just hold this person. I wanted to comfort this painfully naive person who believes she probably also on a doctor's order, strict diet. So sitting and eating banquet style food it's no longer the best for the princess. She wants to stay healthy, so it's for the best. Really? Oh, really? Is that what you believe? Is that really what you believe? You believe that the doctor said that she should not eat banquet food. You believe that the doctor believes she should not eat banquet food so that she could stay healthy and recover from her phantom illness. Is that what we're saying? Oh, that is just too precious. You guys, I really just want to hold this person. I want to warn them that the world is a mean, cruel, and disappointing place, and that their place in the world is not guaranteed because of how gullible they are. But again, they managed to get through all of this with no mention of Harry and Meghan. So for this, I applaud them. I don't get why they framed the entrance in the like this. Oh, the Carol, Christmas Carol. I don't get why they framed the entrance in the Christmas Carol like this, saying that William also held the carol service when that wasn't the case. But all right. Now, this same person who started this whole thing, the person who wrote the first paragraph up there at the top, this person was also bothered because remember, this is their Twitter page. They were also bothered by the fact that, according to the court circular from Kensington Palace, the Prince of Wales and the Princess of Wales, as patron of the Royal Foundation of the Prince and Princess of Wales, this afternoon held a Christmas carol service in Westminster Abbey. They are making William part of the Christmas carol. You see what they did there? And this person who loves Kate Middleton is bothered by the fact that William is considered part of it. But you know what? Like I said, leave Harry and Meghan alone. We don't have a problem. But I just thought this was interesting. Now, on the right side there, it says my picks on the front pages of Prince Louis and the Princess of Wales during the Together at Christmas Carol service at Westminster Abbey in London. So I don't know if that is the photographer that took these photos, is why they said that. But you know what I noticed? Where's the other children? You got Kate and Louis, Kate and Louis, Kate and Louis, Kate and Louis. Now, the one paper, you can see those little cameos of George and Charlotte. But for some reason, they're only covering Kate and Louis. I just thought that was interesting. 4 different newspapers, and their front page photos is just Kate and Louis. They could have used other photos where Kate was standing by herself, but it seems as though they wanted a photo of Kate with Louis going through the song selection or whatever. But interesting, not a big deal, but just interesting. Hazel says, I think they're separated and the tiaras have been taken away. I wonder if she was able to produce the necklace. Oh my goodness, Hazel Jones. I said that there would be some messiness and gossip, but you just went there. You just went there. I love it. I love it. Was she a You know what? You know what? Maybe that's what the problem is. Maybe the reason why she's not allowed the tiaras is because that necklace is still missing. Maybe she's not allowed access to the tiara because that necklace is still missing. Connie says, if this is how derangers communicate, it's boring. I love it. I love it. I love it. You know, I was thinking the same thing. I was just very fascinated with how a conversation takes place if there's no Harry and Meghan involved. But yes, that is a quite boring exchange. It is, where they are totally preoccupied with whether or not Kate goes to the state dinner. But yes, thank you, Connie Palmer. Ah, I love it. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you very much. Conversations like that makes you just want to go out the Tower Bridge and end it all, doesn't it? If this is as good as life gets, taxi, take me to the Tower Bridge and step on it. Oh boy. uh, okay. Now, of course, this is an illustration of what the um, Wells's Christmas is really like. This is just a reimagined image of the Wellses at Christmas. Mommy, mommy, who are those people? Um, what? What? And then, of course, one of the kids translate. She said those are the indigent and poor, and that we should stay away from them. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. I'm sure that that would not happen. Let me see. Or a few historic stones were removed. Next question. Will he lock her out of the abbey on Coronation Day, like George George the Fourth did his wife? Oh, that would be rich. That would be rich. You guys really believe this, huh? Okay. Fuel for Life with Prissy. Let me see. I think there has been some missing crowns too that she had in her possession. You guys, if that is true, that is quite the scandal. And maybe, but I tell you what, I'm going to be very open minded. Maybe that's what the whole fuss was about since January the 17th, when there was news of surgery. Or maybe December the 28th, when a motorcade was seen racing toward a hospital in Sandringham from the Sandringham estate. So who knows? Who knows what it's all about? But gosh, it's getting really juicy now, isn't it? I told you we had some gossip. But this is what I wanted to sum up, is that there is no way, and I said this before, I know I'm repeating myself, but there is no way that Kate, as the royal princess who loves wearing that lotus tiara, would willingly give that tiara to Sophie Wessex or the Duchess of Edinburgh. There's no way that she would give that tiara to her to wear unless she had to. Because once you have been identified as the one who wears that tiara, they don't usually switch it up. And I promise you, there is something very strange about that. Very strange. That should not have happened. That should not have happened. That is Kate's to wear as long as she wants to. She's going to be the next queen. And of course, we all know that Godzilla, the queen consort, her head is far too large for those little dainty tiaras. She'd break the crap out of them things. If Camilla tried to put one of those tiaras on, there would be all types of metal shavings, like gold shavings and diamonds piercing the wallpaper because it would have burst rather than to sit firmly on her head. Because that broad has got the biggest head. That hair kind of hides it, but she has a huge melon. Her face is too big. Her face is big because her head is too big. She's just got a big head. So she couldn't wear those little dainty things. That would be like you taking a bracelet and just putting it on top of your head. That's what it would look like on her. Yeah. Yep. So let me go to something else now. Oh, by the way, I meant to say this too. This, I think, was one of the things that got Kate in trouble. When she stepped out of that state Bentley looking like raw chicken legs during a state visit, no less. She stepped out of that state Bentley. Either she's wearing something very short or she hiked her dress up while she that is that's desperation. That is desperation. You see the windows of that car? Take a look at the height of those windows. Those cars were designed with about an extra, in some places, about an extra 10 or 12 inches of glass. The height of the roof is designed so that you can easily be seen inside of the vehicle, so that you could easily wear a hat inside of the vehicles. So she had plenty room to stand up, step onto that running board if she needed to, and step out of the car. But instead, she turned sideways. It appears as though she hiked her dress up and then she pokes her leg out. I'm telling you, that was deliberate. But I think what she was wearing was so short that you couldn't help but see her legs. Now, I'm going to tell you something that happened. What was it, yesterday or day before yesterday? She wore that maroon coat, right? When she did that odd curtsy. When she went to Buckingham Palace, she changed out of the coat. Remember the nice coat that looks like she flies for Qatar Airlines? She changed out of that coat and changed into a maroon coat dress. It is different from the coat that she wore outside. And that was the same thing that happened on this day, because I remember once they got inside for the banquet, she had a longer red dress on and her knees were not showing. So I believe that the dress that she's wearing here is like a mini. That is not a full down just above or below the knee. That is very short, whatever she's wearing. And I think that's what got her in trouble. I think that's what got her in trouble, because it seems like ever since she stepped out that car, she's been punished. Now, this little spot of bother, however, she missed the glittering state banquet where the royals were joined by David and Victoria Beckham. The royal source described the announcement of Kate's attendance as good news as the princess continues with her slow and measured return to public life after completion of her preventative chemotherapy, says SK. You see, SK has underlined it right there. The princess announced in March that she had embarked on a course of treatment after doctors found evidence of disease after major abdominal surgery in January. In September, she revealed that this had now been completed, but warned that it would take time and patience for her to return to full-time royal duty. Is that why she's being punished? Because of this slow return to work? Now, SK says, this is the first time I've seen a Daily Mail article calling it preventative chemotherapy. They've been on and on about chemo for months. And what's this all about? Doctors found evidence of the disease after major abdominal surgery. This is the first time they've not used the word cancer. This is the first time they've not used the word cancer. When they talking about Kate and their in their articles, it's a shady article, right? So a couple other people commented, if it's a hysterectomy Kate had, why not just say so? If not, what? Someone else added, if it is as simple and straightforward as this is now implying, why so much, oh gosh, I cut that off. Rest at the stage still needed at this stage. Yeah. Why so much rest at this stage still needed at her age and level of health? Not health, but health. That's what I've been asking for the longest. Why is it that someone of her age who looks incredibly fit, especially when she went skipping to her seat at the Wimbledon, but they use the excuse that there are good days and there are bad days. There are good days and there are bad days. I guess, in other words, they have a flipping answer for everything. You cannot think of anything that they don't have an answer for it. So where's Kate? Well, there's good days and there's bad days. She went to Wimbledon because there are good days and bad days. What about Trooping the Colors? What part of good days and bad days do you not get? There are good there are good days and there are bad days. So what day is it today? I don't know. It's a good day or a bad day. Lisette Zug says, hi, Barons and Squatties. That red chicken dress changed everything for Kate. She looked mentally beside her. Thank you so much for the super chat. Yeah, thank you so much for the super chat. It's a scandal. It is a scandal. The tabloid was being very considerate to her by not saying what they really should have said. This was attention-seeking behavior. In my opinion, she literally hiked up her dress before she got out of that car. That was a very unnecessary way to exit the vehicle. It was undignified and unladylike, in my opinion. Yeah, very undignified. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. Let me know. Let me know. If only. Ooh, I like that. Oh, let me see. You have a coffee shop? That is so cool. That is so cool. And let me just say, I have it on good authority that the pastries in Vienna, in Austria, in Austria, the pastries are top notch. Those are top notch. I literally ate my way through Europe. I know what I'm speaking of. I don't pass up pastry shops. uh, now, arise, Sir Golden Balls. This is what the Daily Mail is referring to Sir David Beckham, or someone who wants to be Sir David Beckham. You guys, I am so sick of this idea that David Beckham is somehow a threat to Harry's popularity, that David Beckham is somehow a replacement for Prince Harry. David Beckham is the son that Charles always wanted, or should I say, the other son that he always wanted. David Beckham is the brother that Willie always wanted. Well, I tell you what, if David grows a beard, if he keeps a beard, I think Willie would have him as a brother, of course. Yeah, Willie would have him as a brother if he grows out his beard. Who knows? He might even offer him one of those pulled pork sandwiches. Yeah, he might even offer David a pulled pork sandwich if he grows out his beard. This is getting a bit to be too much. And there, of course, is Victoria Beckham in tow by his side. And they were not so kind to Victoria. One of the articles said, or no, was it one of the announcers or whatever? They said that Victoria Beckham seemed nervous. Even Victoria Beckham gets nervous around royalty. What is it to be nervous about? They're not particularly smart. You know what I'm saying? What is there to be nervous about? Like it's the first time she's ever been around that family. But they are building a case for David Beckham as though he's going to go out and do some of the royal duties soon. Now, leave it to the Daily Fail to make a timeline. These people are so sick and so twisted, they even established a timeline. The rise and fall of the Beckhams' friendship with the Sussexes. Why is Harry and Meghan even part of this? They don't want anything to do with the Beckhams. The Beckhams were so 10 years ago, right? What does Harry and Meghan, what do they want with the Beckhams? They're not the most popular couple on the planet. Harry and Meghan are, right? 2010, Harry and David are long-term friends. Are they? Are they really long-term friends? Are they long-term friends? Why? Why are they long-term friends? How? Okay. How are they long-term friends? Why are they long-term friends? They don't explain that. 2013, Meghan fangirls over Victoria. Now, I don't know what that means. Maybe Meghan said something positive or supportive about Victoria Beckham. But they want to call it fangirl, fine. 2017, friendship develops when Meghan moves to London. Meghan wore one of her dresses, okay? Actually, she has a couple of those Victoria Beckham pieces. For all we know, Victoria Beckham may have gifted those clothes to Meghan before she married Harry. Who knows how she came about those clothes? Maybe Meghan just bought the clothes and wrote a nice letter to Victoria Beckham and said, hey, these are nice. Okay? But, and this is very crucial. Well, I'll get to that later. 2017, Meghan wears Victoria's label for engagement snap. Fine. 2018, the Beckhams snubbed from reception. Now listen to this. Listen closely. Harry and Meghan are supposed to be so close to the Beckhams. Yes, they invited them to the wedding, but they were not invited to the reception. We do not know why they were not invited to the reception, but they were not. They're certainly not as important as Oprah Winfrey. At least at that time, they were not. So they were not invited to the reception. No explanation. No explanation. All right. So next is 2018. Ignored in Australia. Who's ignored in Australia? I don't know. 2018. Rift over freebies. I'm not sure what that means, but fine. 2020. Tension over friendship with William. Y'all could have William, okay? They don't want William. Do you think that the Sussexes will be so petty that they would somehow feel threatened because David Beckham, who is hungry for that knighthood, Harry is not in a position to give David Beckham a knighthood. Meghan is not in a position to give this man a knighthood. Whatever the case may be, that ain't their role. They are in America. They're in the U.S. They're Californians. They're thinking about that stuff. They're the ones who offered to give up their titles when they left official royal duty. Okay. 2022. No wedding invite. Now, I know what that's about. The Sussexes were not invited to the Beckhams, what's his name? Brooklyn. They were not invited to Brooklyn's wedding. Do you all think that Harry and Meghan wanted to go to Brooklyn Beckham's wedding? For what? What would they go to the wedding for? It was the same thing with Barack Obama's birthday party. Oh, Meghan was not invited to Barack Obama's birthday party. They're born on the same day. It was a milestone birthday for Meghan. Do you want to spend the day with the president, former president of the United States, or would you like to be in the peace and serenity of your Montecito mansion with your closest friends and family? She chose the latter, to be in Montecito. We don't even know that there's any closeness between the Obamas and the Sussexes that they would even be looking for an invitation. It would be the same as asking Barack Obama to go to Montecito for his birthday. Why would he do that? It's their day. They're supposed to be with the people closest to them. This is a silly timeline designed to create hostility and some adversarial relationship between the Sussexes and the Beckham where none exist. They're not thinking of each other. I'm not even going to say that the Beckhams, I wouldn't even put that on them, that they are so low that they spend their time worrying about what Harry and Meghan is doing. So if you take a look there on the left, yes, Meghan is wearing a Victoria Beckham dress. It is stunning. If you look there, there's David Beckham, the son Charles always wanted. There's David Beckham, the brother William always wanted. There's David Beckham and Posh going into the Sussex wedding. They were not invited to the reception. And the only photo that I could find of our Prince Harry photographed with Victoria Beckham, he was a child. He was a child. I cannot find one single photo of Meghan and Victoria Beckham. Not one photo. If they were friends of any stripe, as hoghead Piers Morgan has claimed, where's your proof? Where is your proof of friendship? There are no photos that I could find of hoghead Piers Morgan and Meghan. I don't even believe they ever met. There are no photos of Victoria Beckham and Meghan. If they were friends, if they were ever girl-friendly with each other, surely, especially the way Meghan is, capable of connecting with people, where's the photo? And maybe there is a photo that exists. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it is not made public. Everybody laughs at the Beckhams. They call them social climbers. They're no different from the Middletons, except they really do have money. That's what makes them different from the Middletons. The Middletons, they were pretending to be rich. The Beckhams, they really do have money. Also, they want people to believe that there's some type of tension between the Beckhams and the Sussexes because who has the most popular docuseries? Who cares? I tell you what the Sussexes do have. They do have a contract with the Netflix that reportedly is north of $100 million that they have. And that's all I care about. All I care about is, did the check clear? Okay? Did the check clear? If the check cleared, I don't care what David and Victoria Beckham are doing. I don't care. Long as that check from the Netflix cleared and the Sussex account, that's all that matters. The rest of it is anecdotal. It is superfluous, unnecessary, much to do about nothing, serendipity, whatever you want to call it. It matters not, long as the check cleared. Yes, Terry H. I agree with you. I agree with you. She was just supporting another woman in business, a woman entrepreneur. Only clowns and misinformed think the Sussexes did not have the most popular docuseries when it dropped. Of course, it is not 4 years later. And of course, also, Diane Hawkins, we also know that the Sussexes broke the internet. The Sussexes docuseries literally wrecked the servers at Netflix, wrecked them. They literally had all types of problems because there were so many people trying to log on to watch Harry and Meghan. I haven't heard of any such incidents with David and Posh, but I know with the Sussexes, they broke the internet. So if that is any indication of their popularity, then I would say that theirs was the most popular in that given period of time. And still today, their views have outnumbered that of the other two. Yes, they're living their best lives, full of love, happiness, purpose, charity, advocacy. Yeah, there you go. Uh oh, okay. Victoria Beckham got an OBE. The press trashed her for posing with the honor her parents and husband. It is so odd. The press seems to trash her a lot. I don't get why they do that. To be honest with you, I don't have a problem with Victoria Beckham. I don't even know a lot about her in the first place, but um, I- well, the press, they tend to be very misogynistic to any woman that appears to be empowered. That seems to set them off. And the worst of the people in the press that are, I guess, what do you call it? Trashing women is the women journalists or so-called journalists. The women who write in these tabloids, they are far worse than the men when it comes to trashing other women. And in particular, women of color seems to be their favorite target. They love to trash women of color. There is no level that is too low for them to stoop, for them to go after a woman of color. In general, they do not like women, especially the women who write the articles. It's awful. It really is awful. Order of the British Empire, the OBE, Order of the British Empire. That is a term that should have died out a long time ago, but there you go. The Order of the British Empire. That means that a bunch of white folks got on some ships and they went and found red, yellow, black, brown people, and they slayed them, stripped them of their wealth. They enslaved them. They've done all kind of terrible things, all in the name of the crown. So, Order of the British Empire. They are celebrating the fact that a little island in the North Atlantic managed to wreak havoc all over the world, even greater than the Spanish, the Portuguese. I mean, they all were pretty terrible, but in particular, the British, who colonized India, one of the which they argue was like the wealthiest nation, or not nation, but the wealthiest land. They were not a complete nation. They were lots of little kingdoms and city states and stuff. But they conquered them, stripped them of their wealth, could not strip them of their culture. It just was impossible. But it enriched the British Empire. So they celebrate all of those things by handing out those little dangly bits. It is so weird. Um, there was actually a proposal recently to change the name, to phase out that name OBE. But some people are very traditional and they want to keep it. It goes back to that woman get their status from their husbands, 18th century thinking in the 21st century. Thank you, Hazel Jones. Well, that's my version of it. I didn't want to give you the sanitized version, but that's my way to explain it. I mean, you look at that thing and you literally see a person of color being trampled. It looks horrendous. And Do they still give out these medals, by the way? Do they still give out this version of the medal where you have this angelic figure? That's supposed to be Saint George, but you could easily say that that is the Archangel Michael. And that is supposed to be the demon who just happens to be a black man that is being conquered with chains, which represent slavery, and a sword, which represents what it represents, conquest. So, yeah, that's what they're celebrating. As a matter of fact, do you guys know that Commonwealth Day was called Empire Day? And until the 1970s, they still referred to Commonwealth Day as Empire Day. And the only reason why they changed it is because most of the countries in the Commonwealth are people of color. So it seemed very awkward to try to keep them as part of this family of nations, whilst at the same time referring to the British Empire, right? That was very awkward. So they changed it to Commonwealth Day, a commonwealth of nations. The only thing is there's nothing common about the wealth. Some of them got it and some of them don't. You know, I want to watch it. I want to watch it. Like I said, I don't have anything against the Beckhams. And they said the docuseries was excellent. They said it was really good. So I do want to watch it. I have nothing against David and Victoria Beckham. I am kind of tired of looking at David Beckham because I think it's disgusting for a grown, self-sufficient, able-bodied adult man to be so hungry and thirsty for this title that he is allowing himself to be humiliated by that family. He is being humiliated by them, and he doesn't seem to care. He does not seem to care. He has been kissing behind with those people for years. And still he doesn't have an OBE. I'm sorry, a knighthood. He still doesn't have a knighthood. It's embarrassing. Oh, okay. Well, say what you mean. Let me see here. Commonwealth Day name is the same color horse underneath with a different overcoat. Both names mean the same thing, colonizers. Yeah, it basically means colonizer. Well, I still want to see it. But you know what? I probably won't take time to see it because I haven't even watched the last season of Emily in Paris. So I know I ain't got time for that. If it's not with the Sussexes, I ain't got time for it. But I'm just telling you, people said it was good, but I'm going to take your word for it and just skip it. I will. I'll skip it. Thank you for the update. Okay, many governor generals don't wear their OBEs. At the black and brown ones, don't. Okay. Okay, let me get this disgusting thing off the screen. We'll put her up there. I love her. She's such a good actress. I love her. So let me tell you one other thing that they are overlooking when it comes to David Beckham. And that is David Beckham was invited to Buckingham Palace for the state dinner because he has business relations in Qatar. He is friends with the Emir of Qatar. Okay. So he wasn't just there because they think he's a swell guy. He wasn't just there because they needed to fill some of those seats. He was there because he has business interests all over the Middle East. A lot of people have criticized, if there was one thing that David Beckham has been criticized for, which I think is somewhat justified, is that for a long time, David Beckham traded on his looks. He, I won't say that he was leading people on, but he had a certain fandom in the LGBTQ community, right? And there's a lot of otherwise heterosexual men that love to play in the sandbox, if you will. They love to play in the sandbox, but they are not really your best friend. So they trade on that idea of being fluid, but they're not. So I'm not saying that that's what he did, but he does have a fandom in certain circles that were upset by the fact that he has so much business in countries where women are not given full and equal rights. The LGBT community, well, you know what happens to people in that community in some of those countries where he has business. So there's a lot of people who do not like him for that reason. I'm not going to hold it against him because, you know, those very same people are allowed to come to Buckingham Palace and break bread with Queen Elizabeth and King Charles III. And, it's just life. So I'm not going to hold that against him, but I'm just saying that's what some people do not like about David Beckham. He appears increasingly money hungry, and he appears to be a bit of a social climber. They have even nicknamed one of their properties the Beckingham Palace, the Beckham Palace. Yeah. So let that sink in. Oh, that's clever. You're on fire tonight. That is clever. Oh, I totally get that. I totally get that. That is wicked. I love it. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Is everybody falling out with Camilla? Does Camilla have it in for multiple people? I don't know. I don't know. It is a weirdness with that family. And as I said, we were going to gossip and we are gossiping. So, whatever theories you have, go ahead and share them. But I don't know. I don't know. Kate was untouchable for a long time. She could come and go as she pleased and do what she wanted to do. But ever since she was dubbed racist, and maybe, let's just say for the sake of argument, maybe Kate said absolutely none of that stuff about Archie. What if she's the only one who did not participate in that conversation? And it was Willie, Gladys, and Chucky. And yet she has been named as one of them. Is that why she went off the deep end? I'm not going to say it's because she cared about black people that much, but did she go off the deep end because she felt like she was unjustifiably accused of something she didn't do? What happened to her last December What caused her to sink into such despair that by January, there was this still unexplained surgery? We don't even know that she was actually in the hospital. We don't even know if she was really in the hospital. And even then, Camilla was stalking by running in and out of the hospital every day, all cameras trained on her. The only people you ever saw enter and exit that hospital was Charles and Camilla. You never saw William enter or exit. You never saw Kate enter or exit that hospital. You never saw her mother, her father, her sister, or her brother, and her weird uncle with his baking soda subsidy. You never saw any of those people enter that hospital or leave it, except for Charles and Camilla. So something happened, and there's been just this ongoing, unexplained absence, unexplained surgery, bizarre treatment for a cancer which probably did not exist. Thomas Kingston's untimely, confusing, weird unaliving. William not showing up and then bruises. And then, of course, Timothy Lawrence around that time, bruises. Later on, we find out that the Princess Royale has been kicked in the head by a horse. She was viciously kicked, nearly decapitated by a horse. A horse's hoof nearly knocked her top off. She was found unconscious in the grass. Loose squares, Newports scattered all about the scene. And they still have not found her afro hairpick. They still have not found her hairpick. So there are so many things that are unexplained. Charles and his weird mouth with cherry lip gloss. There's so many things I don't have explanations for. I'd like to know, what is with all this weirdness? People coming up missing, people taking themselves out. First, it's not a cancer, then it is. Charles wasn't cancer, then it is. What kind of cancer? We're not going to tell you. What are you doing for treatment? We ain't going to tell you. Of course, the one who did tell, you don't even know why they used that treatment. I'm telling you guys, I cannot keep up with it, but it has drawn me in. If they were hoping to get attention, they got me. So much I can't explain. So many curious things going on. Yeah. And then according to the inquest, it was a reaction to a medication. Okay, it was. You're still thinking about that jewelry, huh? Oh, yes. Yes. The day of the apocalypse. The horse is running. A white horse. Oh my God, what an omen. a white horse running drenched in blood through the streets of London, a modern European city, and there is a white horse followed by a black horse running through the streets of London. Oh, if that doesn't give you chills. Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. Yep. Yep. Those 3 a.m. educations in business. The man who runs a huge empire that includes transportation that can take you into space, the sea, the rails, and yet he was the prime person necessary to help the Middleton family, giving them strong advice about their party pieces business. Well, you know what? If I had a party pieces business and I wanted some business suggestions, I would probably go to someone old enough to be my daddy and hang out with him at a party where people are grinding and kissing and carrying on. I would go to the party with that old geezer, with that older man, and get all the advice I can to help my parents with their party pieces. Because surely the man who has put a rocket into space, who has redefined rail travel in Britain, who has created a profitable airline, and even has cruise ships, of course that man could give me some advice on party pieces. Yeah, who couldn't take advice from somebody old enough to be their daddy in the middle of the night? I'd like to know that answer to that question. Do you all remember the part where I said, if there's some conspiracy you want to get off your chest, now is the time to do it? Well, stop. Stop it, stop it, stop it. You guys are doing the most now. The Grim Reaper. The Grim Reaper. Now, just to help jar your memory, I am going to Photoshop a hood and add a sickle to this face, right? And you tell me if this is what you saw scurrying about in the halls of Westminster Abbey, slithering about doing the coronation. Give me a couple of days, I'll work on that. Let me see here. Yes, yes, a sign of what's to come. Yeah, you guys, it has been oh well. Now, I was going to be really shady earlier, and I was going to add a measuring device between one part and measure the space to the other part. Now, if you know what part, you know. If you don't know, you don't know. But I said, no, I'm not going to do that. But I was literally going to take like a ruler and superimpose it into the photo because I am so curious to know how much space there is between one part to the other. But I said, no. That would be rude. That would be rude. So I'm not going to do it. But I thought about it. Yeah, just a little ruler so that we can get an idea of how much space there is from point A to point B. I hate to be so shady, but if you know, you know. Because there's a lot of space. A whole lot of space. I mean, there was space before, but it seems like it's expanded. There's been some expansion. So, um, but I'm not saying. Oh, and look at that smug look that he has on his face. He's so smug. He is so smug. Oh, by the way, that medal that he has on his jacket, that is, or in his coat rather, that is is that the OBE? I think that's the OBE. Well, you know what? There has been what I found out from watching some of those people on YouTube, the cosmetic surgeons, the ones that do the hair restoration. There's a lot of men, and I'm not saying David Beckham is one of them, but I'm not saying that he's not. But there are a lot of men who have had the implant surgery, or how they harvest hair from here to there. There's a lot of men in Hollywood, people that you would never suspect, and not, some of them are not that old either, that have had their hair tweaked so that they could always maintain a very youthful hairline. Again, I'm not saying that David Beckham is one of them, but I'm not saying that he's not either. Yes, and they even tried to blame um, Princess Anne. Remember that? They tried to blame it on Princess Anne. Yeah, and Pierce Morgan, I don't think that he knew for certain. I just believe he knew what was said in the book, the Omid Scobie book. But it's not that I don't suspect that she has those tendencies. I just believe that Kate is being sacrificed to cover for her husband. Now, they already have had problems, right? And as we know, since William will be king, he just simply cannot be known as an adulterer. He cannot be known as a racist. There's a lot of things that he just can't. They won't allow him to be identified in those terms. I don't care if there is a Zapruder film. By the way, thank you for your comment. I don't care if you produce the Zapruder film of being a racist. They're not going to allow him to take a fall. Nope. Not until he's king. He's not allowed to fall until he's king. Yeah, he's sold his soul for a lot of stuff, including that. Mm-hmm. Yes, that is a good point. We didn't see it. We didn't see that translation. Um, you guys, and I wonder to what degree there were people rooting for Omid Scobie. Someone in that royal household may have actually been rooting for Omid Scobie's book to come out. And it would seem as though the one who is truly untouchable in every situation, Camilla, it seemed like it wouldn't cost her anything for Omid to put that book out there. I don't think the book really cost her a lot. Right now, I cannot think of anything that was so terrible for her in that book. I can't think of anything, but it's been so long since the book was out. I don't remember. But yeah. But I could see her leaking something like that. So I'm going to wrap this up soon because we're drifting into 3 hours, and I didn't mean to do that. But Muriel just wanted to remind us all that Princess Diana, the people's princess, was definitely leaning toward a life in these United States. And Harry insists that that is the life that his mother wanted for him, away from that institution. And it seems like everything has fallen into place. And that's exactly what appears to be happening, or has happened. There were so many clues along the way where it seemed like Princess Diana dreamed of her life in the U.S. And she was so popular here, still popular here in the U.S. So who knows? Maybe it was just destiny. It was Harry's destiny. So let me see. I know I have rather enjoyed it. It's it is so mysterious and so many weird bits and bobs here and there with what's happening with the royals. And I mean, I've heard some interesting stuff, and I'm like, yeah, that sounds like it makes sense to me. So, but yeah, we will pick up on it again, though. We will pick up on it again. Love that photo of Diana. And of course, forget-me-nots, Diana's favorite flowers. And with that, you guys, I am done. I will see you all tomorrow or later today. Thank goodness. Knock wood, the microphone did not go out one time. The setting that I have now, I think I'm just going to leave it there and let's hope for the best. Cynthia Saunders, thank you so much for being here. Yeah, and Anne is not telling. She has no reason to mention anything because no matter what happens, whether people have a good day or a bad day, none of these things really has a direct effect on her. She just does the job and get on with it and leaves the rest of these people to sort it out as best they can. So that is Afro Annie for you. Thank you, Connie Balmer. Thank you very much. Madeline Jones, Amelia Rodriguez. Thank you all very much. Good night. Fuel for Life with Prissy. All right. Okay, very good. So let's say good night, everyone. And remember to pray for everyone. Oh, and by the way, thank you for the Christmas card. I received a Christmas card from Jerry White today. So thank you very much for that. And Iris, oh, you know what? Iris, I almost forgot. I got another card. Looks like this one was mailed on the 2nd of December. And it says, with warm thoughts and prayers as you take time to remember the special ways your loved one's life made a difference in your family and beyond. Thank you so much for that. And listen to your program faithfully. Hugs and kisses, hugs and kisses, hugs and kisses. Let me know if you receive, if you can. So that's what I'm doing right now. I won't say the name, but also thank you for all you do and your laughs. And the prayer at the bottom says, He shall strengthen your heart, all ye that hope in the Lord. I love that. That is Psalm 31:24. And asking God to hold you close and give peace and comfort in your loss. Thank you so much. And thank you for thinking about my aunt. Thank you so much for that. Okay. And this card from Jerry. Oh my God, this is so beautiful. There's camels with the, I believe, the three wise men. And there's the, what do they call that star? The Northern Star or whatever? Yeah. And it says, "Oh, holy night, the stars are brightly shining." Yeah, it says, "Oh, holy night." May your Christmas be filled with his amazing love and his unending hope. Merry Christmas. Well, thank you very much, Jerry White. All right. So that was beautiful. Two very beautiful cards. All right. Oh, it's the Star of Bethlehem. Thank you so much. I'm such a heathen. Thank you so much. Is that the Northern Star? Yeah, yes, I got it. Thank you. It is the night of our dear Savior's birth. Long lay the world which in sin. You know, I forgot the words. Oh, why don't I look it up and we could all sing it, right? Yes, we could all sing it together. Okay. Are you all ready? Royal Sussex Tabernacle Choir. Oh, holy night, the stars are brightly shining. It is the night of our dear Savior's birth. Long lay the world in sins and error pining, till he appears and the soul felt his worth. A thrill of hope, the weary world rejoices, for yonder breaks a new and glorious morn. Fall on your knees. Oh, hear the angels' voices. A night divine. Oh, night when Christ was born. All right, that'll do. Let me see. Jennifer Clark, thank you very much for the super sticker. And thank you all very much for joining us tonight. And we'll be back again tomorrow. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Not on this channel, you didn't. Okay. All right. Love you guys, and we're out.